Live from Orlando, Florida, you're now listening to the OZone Podcast, the voice of Orlando Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans, and welcome back to another episode of the OZone Podcast, brought to you by DraftKings and part of the Basketball Podcast Network. We're your hosts, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday, December 3rd. What's up, Al?
What's going on, man?
What is up? In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the return of Nikola Vucevic and Aaron Gordon coming back to Orlando. We're going to talk a little bit about some Markelle and Jonathan Isaac updates. We finally hear a little bit of, where they're at in terms of their recovery, and the return of Cole Anthony back into the Orlando Magic lineup after missing the last 6 games. But before we get into those topics, I'm sure, because you and I talked about it off air, and a lot of the Magic fans, they've also received this, but the Orlando Magic ran a survey, and this survey was recently asking in regards to fan feedback. And the fan feedback was really about wanting to know a little bit more about what fans think of current logo and our past logos. So if you remember, it's the original, everyone's favorite, in my opinion, the classic Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway era Orlando Magic logo. Then we kind of transition to the T-Mac logo, and then the current logo that we have now. I want to know from you, what do you think is the reason behind that? Why are they asking these questions from the fans? Why do they want this feedback? Or is it just more of them having a better understanding? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm hoping that the fan in me is hoping that this means something is going to be changing soon. Maybe a different logo, maybe not a drastic change, but maybe the logo will change. But then again, didn't Josh Robbins, on his last article for The Athletic, like covering the Magic, say that Alex Martins has said that there's no rebrand coming anytime soon, not within the next 4 or 5 years. So it kind of caught me off guard, to be honest, because, I mean, is it just for feedback purposes, or is there a reason behind it? The fan in me is hoping that it would mean, hey, we may change the logo for the next few years, maybe going back to the T-Mac logo or the 90s logo, but I'm not quite sure. What's your take on it?
I think that it's good to see that they're trying to gauge the interest of the local fan base, because some of the questions that they asked in the survey was, 1, do you currently live in Orlando? 2, how long have you lived in Orlando? And then kind of gauging, what level of fandom, do you really fall in? Are you a casual watcher? Are you more of an extreme? Whatever the case may be. So I like that aspect of it, because for the diehards that listen to this podcast, and even for you and I, Al, our opinions matter, because we're the ones that are really investing way more time than the casual. And if you're a casual watcher, that's fine. Also, your input is important. But I think that I agree with Josh. I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to happen soon, because the way that the Orlando Magic always done things is that they plan things in advance. Everything has to be like this master scheme, master plan to kind of get things done and get things rolled out. It's just kind of the way that we roll. So I think that in the future, definitely we're going to see some type of change. I don't think it's going to be a drastic change. I think it might be a minor adjustments. What I'm hoping that they do is they don't change the logo, but me personally, I just hope they go back to, the classic. Like, why change something that was never broken?
True.
You have the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Los Angeles Lakers. You have, these teams that their logos are iconic, and they don't touch it. Their uniforms, they're iconic, and they don't touch it. They make small little adjustments, whatever the case may be, but they know who they are. They know their branding. And at one point in time, in my opinion, our old school logo, our old school uniforms, they were really popular, like globally popular. That's right. I feel like we've lost some of that. And I'm hoping that, with the feedback that people have given and some of the feedback that I've read, that they take a lot of that into consideration and, make the appropriate changes, whatever that may be.
So let me ask you this, though. Out of the 3 logos they sent us, right, so we had to basically answer a bunch of questions, but ultimately you picked your favorite. What was your favorite out of those?
The classic.
3?
Classic.
It's 90s?
It's easy. Yeah, 100%. Now, here's the thing. And it's perfect for those that are watching on YouTube. You take a look at Al's background. You see the current logo that we have now. What I don't like about the current logo is that it looks too. To me, it looks too vanilla. It looks plain. It looks very corporate America. Like it looks. In my opinion, it looks boring. I like the secondary logo, the ball with the stars. I like what we have there. I like our original better. So if you watch some of the games, you also see Coach Mosley and the coaching staff, and they have the original, ball and star logo on their chest. And to me, that just looks, I don't know. I don't know if it's nostalgia. I personally prefer the classic. And I think that, again, don't change it. Go back to that.
For me, my favorite, the one that I voted number one for me was the T-Mac days. So that in between, the middle logo, I just feel like it's kind of cartoonish, but I don't know why. For me personally, it reminds me of more of the Magic. Like the '90s logo looks a bit outdated in today's NBA. So if you can some way somehow make a mix of the T-Mac days logo, in some way somehow implement maybe the ball of the '90s, I don't know how they could do that. That would be like the perfect scenario for me. But for me, like I had the T-Mac days logo as the number one. The '90s logo number two, and like you said, our current logo to me is simply way too boring. There's no stars in the name. The font is super boring. Like it's too vanilla. Like you said, too corporate America. It reminds me too much of Alex Martin's, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he's the man pulling the trigger. No, so what I don't like about it, you kind of explained it perfectly. Is it does look too cartoonish. It looks too kiddish.
Yeah.
That part I'm not a fan of. But I think that there's certain staples that the Magic have. Pinstripes, it's a staple. Having the A be a star instead of a letter, it's a staple. I think that those are the ground roots, and it's even like in a recent game they were even highlighting the original Orlando Magic theme song.
Yep.
The one that goes Orlando Magic, and it kind of has that theme. Like to me, that's the Orlando Magic, man. It's cheesy in a sense, but it's like to the heart cheesy. It's like the Miami Dolphins. They got their own song, and everyone sings it in the stadium.
Yep.
It's catchy enough to where that can be created at the Amway. And I know the front office, they don't like using the word, but culture is such a big part of it. And the culture isn't just the players, it's the organization, it's the fan base, it's the environment inside the Amway. It's all a part of it. How the team looks is a part of it. You talk about culture, you're talking about the roots of the team and the people that came from that. I think that you can't really have that full culture unless, the players on the team right now, they need to know the people that were here before them. Right. The Nick Andersons, the Bo Outlaws, the Penny Hardaways, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Dwight Howards, the Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu, all these guys that really, blood, sweat, and tears on that court. And I think that, it's great that they're having this level of engagement of wanting to know more about the logo, and that's a great start. But once we get that part down, we got to get everything else that creates that bad word of culture that the front office don't like using too much.
Yes, sir. I mean, I also think it's a perfect time too. Like I said, you're transitioning from the Dwight days to then the Vucevic days. Now Vuce is gone. I know Josh Robbins said that nothing is coming up in the next 3-4 years, whatever it may be. I hope that's wrong, because I think if you kind of create that culture since now and you rebrand since now, then you're growing with this new team. You're growing with, J.I., Markelle, whoever it may be, Jalen Suggs, this Cole Anthony culture. It's a different vibe to it. I feel like right now we're still, anytime I go to Amway, it reminds me of Dwight Howard. That's the reality behind it, because everything in that arena looks exactly the same like it did when Dwight was here. So I think we need a refresh. We need something new. And maybe that is what is behind this. We don't know. Maybe a subtle change, just a logo will change. Everything else will stay the same. I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully we see some change come out of this survey for sure.
And just to add, something old can still be something new.
Correct.
Add that there. All right, man. Let's jump into the games, man. The last 5 games that the Orlando Magic had, hasn't been fully pretty. All right, Magic were on a 7-game losing streak until we played against the Denver Nuggets. In our last 5 games, we lost against Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and then a big win against the Denver Nuggets. During this stretch, we saw a return of Nikola Vucevic back in Orlando. We saw the return of Aaron Gordon. What are your thoughts on the game?
Man, so like you mentioned, that 7-game losing streak, rough.
Right? Super rough.
That's a simple word. We got blown out a ton of games. The team did not look at its best. And of course, that also kind of correlated with Cole Anthony being out 6 out of those 7 games that we lost. So our offense was just not fluid. The team looked lost out there. The bench has been just awful, unfortunately, all season long. And again, I can't blame it on the coaching staff because we don't have enough healthy bodies. So guys that are getting minutes are not guys that should be getting minutes. But in one word, it's just rough, man, except with last night's game, which we'll expand more on because that game needs to be talked about. But that 7-game losing streak was just completely rough, man. And I can't even as a fan, I can't say anything because it's not Mosley's fault. It's not the front office fault. It truly is a health issue with the team once again. And it sucks because I really thought that last year, once the season ended, we were done with that topic of health and injuries. Unfortunately, through now a month and a half of this new season, it's still the main theme that we're talking about.
Yeah, you take a look at the last 5 games, and Magic scored 99, 88, 92, 96, and then, the final win where, we score over 100. A lot of that has to do with Cole Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Cole Anthony I think it's already been proven in the fact, and let's take a moment, give the man his flowers. The dude has been playing incredible basketball. And it's not just the fact that he's playing really good basketball. It's the way that he's doing it. Like, the dude is playing super confident. You barely tell that he's 6'2" out there. He is playing aggressive. He is grabbing rebounds. This dude is being an alpha player. And we've said this before, something that we feel that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, especially coming from that point guard position. But he is somebody that isn't afraid of the moment. He is somebody that wants the ball in his hand, during those clutch moments. And it's a little different. Like, you compare, clutch moments because you take a look at a player like Evan Fournier, right? He wasn't afraid to take, the shot at the last second. And, if we're being completely honest, he did well in certain moments. Like, he does well in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But it's different. It feels different. Like, it's more exciting. Like, you have a player that is fun on the court and off the court. People are kind of comparing his personality to, the Dwight Howard, the Shaquille O'Neal. Like, it's certain things that need to occur for to have kind of like that persona of an all-star. And I'm not saying that, the interviews is what's going to make him an all-star. I'm just saying that when it comes to like a face of a franchise, Cole Anthony's hitting all those buckets right now. I know it's still kind of young into the season, but this is somebody that, eliminate all the talks of this man being a sixth man, eliminate all the talks about, him not playing well in the summer league and people counting him out. Like, this dude is legit showing up, leading the team, and he is putting all the weight over his shoulder, and he's carrying us through these wins. No Cole Anthony, no wins. And the team plays better when he's involved. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what the dynamics are in the very near future. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few. But as of right now, man, it's fun. That Denver Nuggets game was fun. And this team is showing that they can compete with anybody, as long as everyone is contributing. The focus is on the defensive end, and we're hitting our shots because at the end of the day, we need to be able to have the points on the board.
Yeah, man. Okay, one example I'll give you. So last night against the Denver game at Amway, right? Being at Amway in the fourth quarter, Cole Anthony, I think had hit 2 shots in a row. I have not experienced this as a Magic fan during my time going to Amway Center the last 5 years. I think we're tied up at this moment. Cole hit 2 shots in a row. We get a rebound. They give the ball to Cole Anthony. When I tell you, every single fan at the lower level at the same time just stood up because they knew he was going to take the next shot. It's something I've witnessed in Oakland when Stephen Curry goes on his crazy runs. I went to a game and I witnessed it live. And I'm like, man, this is incredible. I saw that last night when Cole Anthony was in the clutch, hitting shot after shot after shot. The fans knew the ball would be on his hand. What is he going to do? And everyone stood up at the same time. Unfortunately, he missed that one shot when that happened, but just shows how dynamic he is. That arena was extremely loud. The energy, everyone that was in the arena yesterday would say it. That arena was extremely fun to be in. But the funny part is, in the first half, it felt like a typical Amway Center game. Nobody's cheering. Everyone's just sitting down. But when you gave these fans a reason to cheer and to get up on their feet, they responded. And that's what you love about Cole Anthony. By himself, he made that happen. Like in that third quarter run that they went to, he was a key member of that. And that's what he can create. It's that fun atmosphere for the fans. So like you mentioned, he's hitting the buckets on the post-game shows. Just, again, the leadership skill that he's showing. He's standing up for his teammates on the bench, whether he's hurt or playing. It goes a long way. But, I mean, definitely happy to see him back on the court because he makes us a different team. Even when we lose games, we tend to lose close games, not getting blown out by 20, 30 points.
24 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. The dude played 37 minutes. Like, this is his first game back. And, again, he's the floor general. Like, towards the end, you know, the back-to-back mid-ranges that he hit, like, you knew that he was going to take that shot. Like, you knew that he wasn't afraid of that moment. And not just him, but he also got really big support from Franz Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, like, who is this kid? Like, legit, who is this rookie that nobody was expecting? Because I had made a comment yesterday stating that, man, the minute that he hit that shot, because the way that he did it, you have to have like a level of you got to have balls to take that shot.
Yep.
Like the dude was getting ready to kind of drive it in. He kicked back. He could have easily passed the ball off to Mo Bamba for him to hit that three. He said no and decided to take the shot himself with the game on the line to put us up for the very first time in that whole entire game. Like you have to have, not only do you have to have confidence in yourself, but you also have to have confidence from your teammates. That gives you the thought that you can take that shot. And he did it to the point that when he hit it, why did any, like I felt like I instantly cringed that nobody applauded at the Amway when he drafted him. I instantly cringed thinking of all the people that were just like, oh, I can't believe we drafted this guy. There goes our front office again. And he continues to show that he is able to contribute and he is a really good player. This is somebody that, you know, he's third amongst rookies in games played. I think he's averaging, the last I saw was 31 minutes a game. You know, he's fifth amongst rookies in scoring, averaging about 13, 14 points a game. Like, this is somebody that is really, really contributing. And when everyone is hitting like that, you know, the team plays so well. Franz played well. Wendell Carter, another consistent game. And then we also saw a little bit of Mo Wagner going in there and having really big moments and impacting the game. So all around, the team did really, really good. You know, against a Denver Nuggets that, you know, they have the MVP in Jokic. They have a returning Aaron Gordon that I'm sure that he saw this as a revenge game for him. And what do you think about the fan base, kind of the mixture of boos and applause?
I think it was, I mean, I went into a debate on Twitter about this before the game yesterday. I mean, he deserved it, man. If you cheer for the game because you value what he did for the team during his time here, his 6 years in Orlando, I respect you. You know, I cheered for him. I'll be honest. I stood up. I cheered for the guy. Like, in my opinion, he gave us some good years. But if you choose to boo him, I also respect you too, because at the end of the day, Aaron Gordon went vocal. He went to the media. He made it known that he was done with Orlando. And not for nothing, man, or he never became the player that we thought he would become. And it wasn't a lack of opportunity. It wasn't a lack of take us to the next level, Aaron. Here you go. Like, you have the keys in your hand. He had the opportunity to do it. He unfortunately couldn't live up to that potential. And even now in Denver, I heard his coach yesterday say he's playing the best basketball in his career. Yeah, he's averaging 14.7 rebounds. He also said, I have another level to get to. Words I've been hearing for 5 to 6 years now. So, again, the fans, deservedly so, boost and cheer. I respect it. It's warranted. Again, his actions, unfortunately, led to that.
What I like about this Orlando Magic team is that somehow, some way, losing to the Magic hurts the other team that much more. Yep. Like, it really, it hurts them internally, which I love. Because the way I view the Orlando Magic this year is that we're going to be disruptors. We're going to surprise people. And we've already done that. And we talked about that with numerous guests that we've had. You know, what are the expectations of the Orlando Magic? And it was ignore the playoffs, ignore the play-in tournament, not think about that. think about the moments of developing and hoping to see moments where we can kind of beat teams and surprise these teams. And we've already done that with the Knicks. We did that now with the Nuggets. And is Julius Randle stating that he felt sick afterwards? Is Aaron Gordon saying this one hurt? It's these individuals don't think that they should lose to a team like the Orlando Magic. And what people don't understand is that our record doesn't necessarily reflect, this team's ability, but understand that, Jokic, if you want to go party in Miami and Club Live, after your game, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to play the Orlando Magic next, homie.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just sleep on us. We're not a laughing stock, but people are still treating us like that. So it's going to come to a point where the respect factor is going to change. It might take a little time, but we're still missing 5 players that play, that get minutes. MCW, maybe Twan Moore. We still got Markelle, Jonathan Isaac. Who else am I missing?
Suggs now.
Jalen Suggs, yes, exactly. So it's like...
It's half a team, bro. I've been saying it all year. The Magic are playing half a team. So when people keep telling me, like, hey, what are your thoughts on the Magic right now? What are your real thoughts on them? I'm like, I don't know. Because, again, yeah, we're losing a ton of games, but in reality, we're not seeing the real team. We haven't seen the Orlando Magic new roster yet. Like, we're going to have to wait until January, whatever it may be, February, to really see the real roster. And at that point, our schedule is much easier. So we may win a lot more games than we expect. Right now, we're on track to win 20 games this season. I still believe that we're going to catch fire at some point in January, February, when we get our healthy bodies back, our depth is normal, our schedule becomes lighter, because our schedule right now is absolutely brutal. And that's what it's going to be. November, December are absolutely tough months for us. But we got to deal with it. It is what it is. We got to show up. We got to play the games and see what happens.
Yeah, so definitely big ups to the team. It was a really big win. When the Magic lose, it hurts. But when they win, I already forgot I forgot that we were on a 7-game losing streak. Really, really big win. Now, kind of transitioning, we are finally getting news and updates on Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz. I want to give a quick shout out to Stephen Cameron, who is one of the hosts on the Close Up Magic podcast, because he's the one that I first saw mention, why aren't we hearing anything? Why don't we hear at least something, at least an update? To the point that we need to demand an update on our players. Like, why do the Magic treat their injuries like a CIA mission? Like, top secret, nobody can know nothing. Like, let's be honest, we're not that good to have like secret files on our injured players where not even the fan base knows what's going on. But we finally heard something back. So Markelle and Jonathan Isaac injury update. Markelle is now doing rehab with the Lakeland Magic while the team is on a road, and he's also been playing 2v2 and getting a little bit closer to game action. Jonathan Isaac, however, still seems further away. What are your thoughts on at least the little update that we received?
So like you said, shout out to Steven for driving that train and making this happen, because, again, we were all just, I mean, like you said, we don't understand it. Like, why can't we get any updates? Why can't we get any feedback on what's going on behind closed doors in practice? Thankfully, we did. And, I mean, Markelle, like we thought, we've seen him plenty in practice, behind shots. We can see him taking shots and doing drills. So we have a feeling that Markelle's close. This kind of makes it official now that we know that, hey, whether it is another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, some people are getting excited saying before Christmas. We don't know. Now, if you think about Klay Thompson, similar injury, similar time frame, they are saying he's doing what Markelle is doing pretty much, practicing with the G League team, scrimmaging in practice with the G League guys. So Markelle's
we're seeing highlights from the G League of those practices,
but
in Golden State.
The timing is about Christmas for Klay. So I'm thinking Markelle is around the same, but then again, we are the Magic, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be January for him. But it's getting closer. Now, Jonathan Isaac, he's progressing well through his rehab. That's all we got. They're balancing his weight and his body and his this and his that. I don't know what to think anymore, man, because, again, it's now going on 17 months from his knee injury. And I get it. He was 2 injuries pretty much, the ACL and the meniscus that he tore. But man, that's a long time. And to just be hearing he's progressing, like give me more details. Like I wanted them to expand on. What does this mean? Are we going to see J.I. this year? Like I wish Josh Robbins was there, because Josh Robbins would have simply asked, are we going to see J.I. this year? At this point, I have my doubts, man. I really thought it was going to be January. It was going to be late December. But for him to be behind Markelle on coming back, it's shocking to me.
I struggle with it. I really do struggle with it, because other organizations, like, they make hype videos of like their players coming back from injuries. Like, these players are vocal about it. They're not reading off of talking points and not saying when players. I get why the front office does it. I get why they don't put deadlines on returns. I get it. They don't want to put pressures on the players. I get it. That were great with Markelle when we first got him from Philadelphia, and we said that we're not going to put him a player right away. We're going to put our arms around him, and we're going to make sure that he feels, welcome and loved and feel like home. Like, I get that. That's great, amazing. I support it. But dude, we're not asking for much. We just want to know when these guys are going to play. I'm not a season ticket holder. All right, I haven't invested financially to the point where, it's I'm losing money because of it. Ow, you're a season ticket holder. Like, yep. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you because you have no idea. You have no idea when these guys are going to return, and I kind of feel like it's also, I mean, for the players maybe it's different. I'm an outsider looking in, but I feel bad for them too. They need the help. They're getting stopped, man. Like, 7-game losing streak. That's hard on anybody, any competitor, especially if they're playing professional. 7-game losing streak sucks. Like, nobody wants that. It's hard. It's rough. Like, imagine you individually, you listening right now, imagine going to work, and every time you go to work, you get beat down. And it's not that it's not a positive environment, but you lost, man. It's a hard day at work. Like, how motivated are you to go back to work? I'm sure millions of dollars you'll be motivated, but just from trying to find a way to simplify it, it's you need to be able to have these individuals with you to kind of help the team out. And I feel like, all right, if we're 1 week, 2 weeks out, like, in my mind, what's the difference between now and a month from now? If they've already extended, the time frame of what the average expected time frame is for these people to come back.
Let me ask you this, though. So at this point, do we see J.I. this season?
No. This season?
Really?
This season? Yeah, we'll see him this season. This year, no. I'm not. I've already programmed in my mind we're not going to see Markelle or Jonathan Isaac until 2022. My
second question to that would be then, can we assume that there was a setback at some point with Jonathan Isaac?
I don't know. I don't think there was a setback, because some people are viewing it really differently. Some people say there had to have been a setback. Other people are blaming it on the fact that he doesn't want to get vaccinated. Yep. The NBA is 97% vaccination rate. And he's one player that's being vocally about not getting vaccinated. Could that be a reason why? Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe not. I don't know. But then I also thought about, okay, what if we're trying to hold off a little bit until, dare I say, the trade deadline? Or maybe it's sometime after the All-Star break. What if we're trying to hold that out as much as we can just to see what the value is?
The value just to see, because J.I.?
Maybe. Why not? Huh. Why not? Who knows? I mean, this is already the second, third injury that we've dealt with. Yeah. So it's gotten to a point where I honestly forgot what Jonathan Isaac on the Orlando Magic really looks like. Mm-hmm. It's been so long, and it was a completely different team. Like, the last time Jonathan Isaac played was in the bubble. But that was 2 championships ago.
that's what intrigues me though, is that we never saw J.I. as a go-to guy, right? J.I. was a filler. He was like a Franz Wagner on the team before, like a guy that would only shoot when he was open, would only attack the rim when he needed to. But we knew that he was supposed to be more. People keep saying, oh, he's got some flashes of KD in him and this and that. We saw a little bit of that at the bubble when he came in really aggressive and he put up like 10 shots in like 5 minutes. We're like, whoa, who's this guy? And then unfortunately he got hurt. So that aspect of it to me, like right now, this team needs a guy that can just put a ball in the basket, can attack the rim, can take that ownership of, hey, I'm the man. Cole Anthony's doing a great job at it, but imagine having J.I. that also has that mindset. And now you have two guys with that alpha mentality, and then you have Wendell playing well and Franz filling in well. Like, the potential is there, like you're saying. As a fan that's paying to go see this team, as a fan that's excited for this team, that has a podcast to do every week, you know there's excitement there. Like, there's reason to be excited for this team, but we're being kind of held back, and we don't know why. Markelle, we get it. It hasn't been a year yet, so he's supposed to. This is his normal time frame to recover. We understand that. But J.I., man, it's a year and a half almost. Like, that's a long, long time. And I just think we deserve a more defined answer, a more detailed explanation of what's going on. Like, be honest. Like, hey, listen, he is good, but we are working on X, Y, and Z right now. We're working on whatever. Say it, so now we know what's going on. Let me know that knee's good. Because as of right now, honestly, as I'm taking it as, and some people on Twitter were saying this, we're taking it as something happened, and that knee's not fully healed yet. So we think the worst, unfortunately. And that may not be the case. The whole vaccine thing, Bradley Beal, it's playing basketball right now, not vaccinated, and going to New York and playing. He's dealing with it. He's fine. So why J.I. can't do the same if the vaccine is the issue? So I don't know, man. Like, there's just so much going on with this topic that I just hope that he comes back. He can, even if he's off the bench for the first 2 months. But we got to see this guy on the court, man. He's one of our highest paid players, one of the guys that can help this team the most defensively, and one of our best, the face of the franchise. You think about it. Him and Markelle are kind of the face of the franchise right now, but they're not on the court. We got to see these guys.
Yeah, and to be clear, I do not want to trade Jonathan Isaac. I think that we should not trade Jonathan Isaac. I would be infuriated if we've waited this whole entire time to see Jonathan Isaac on the floor and then he gets moved. And I think that, you know, it depends on what you get back, but Jonathan Isaac is the draft pick, like literally the draft pick from this front office. Like that's the one that you're really hoping that you hit on, because. And it was really Jonathan Isaac that said. Jonathan Isaac views him as a hybrid between. He views himself as a hybrid between Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis. Those are his words. He sees himself. As that. Dude, if we can get 50% of that,
Jeez.
That's a win for the Orlando Magic.
That's a big.
It's just
win.
he just needs to be healthy, and you can debate here and there about, you know, if Jonathan Isaac was healthy. You know, how that first round series would have really been like in the bubble against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep.
Because now you have, you know, Jonathan Isaac guarding Giannis. Now you have Aaron Gordon kind of free to not spend, you know, all that time that he did guarding Giannis. And maybe that wall would have been a little bit better. Who knows? Because the Milwaukee Bucks that played in the bubble was not the Milwaukee Bucks that won the championship.
No,
it's a completely different Milwaukee Bucks. Who knows? Who knows what could have happened? So there's a lot of what ifs, and I get that, and all we can really focus on is today. And today we really need these guys to be healthy and come back, because again, not only does it change the dynamic of this team, but also makes the team fun to watch. It allows for them to really compete at a higher level. Our second unit will be dramatically stronger than what it is now, and I don't know. I think that once these guys come back, Mosley's going to have to really think about his adjustments and really how these minutes are being put out. But, you know, number one thing is I'm hoping that they've held off this long because they really want this guy to be 150% healthy. And if that's the case, then I support it.
Yeah, the only concern with that for me is, man, injuries are injuries. He may step on a guy's shoe on a jump shot, boom, sprained ankle. Like, you just never know with basketball, right? So I also don't support that vision of, hey, like, this guy has to be 155% back before we could bring him back. Like he has to be super healthy because again, it's basketball at the end of the day, man. Like the Markelle injury, like he was basically going for a layup. Like nothing crazy happened, and here we are a year later. So that's my thing with that mindset of the front office. If that's really how they're thinking, it's with basketball, man. You just never know. You just never know.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll find out soon. We'll find out soon. All right, jumping into let's get back to talking about Nikola for just a moment. So Nikola returns back to Orlando, and he kind of sheds a little more. He shares a little more insight on the trade and kind of how it went down with the Magic. Nikola had this to say: "It wasn't a situation where they traded me out of nowhere." Vucevic said of the deal that sent from the Magic to the Bulls last season, "It was something that we discussed a lot. It was a mutual agreed. And it wasn't a situation where they told me I wasn't going to get traded and then I got traded. A lot of it came from my communication with them, so it wasn't a surprise for me. Does it make you feel better knowing Vucevic was just not traded out of nowhere, as many of us may have thought? Maybe yes, maybe no. But this is really them saying, or him saying, you know, I requested for a trade. Aaron Gordon did the exact same thing. But Nikola did it a little more polite, nicer, under the radar.
He respected the fan base. He respected the front office. He respected his teammates. And that was my point last night on Twitter. Like, if you choose to boo Aaron Gordon, he deserves those boos because the way he chose to act. Vooch, on the other hand, you can't boo the guy. Why would you? This guy was an all-star for you, played hard every night, made the playoffs with him, just like AG. But he respected the fan base. He respected the front office. He respected his teammates. And all this stuff was going on maybe for months. Not once. Not even Woj knew that Vooch was on the move. We all woke up that morning. I remember like it was yesterday. And we were shocked when we heard the first guy that got traded was Nikola Vucevic. We're like, what? Like, where did this come from? That's why I respect that man. Because he, again, paid respect to all of us. Again, the ones that were paying to go see him play, his teammates in the locker room. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And our front office has shown that if you are upfront with them, they will accommodate you. They will send you where you want to go, but they will do so at their own terms, which, again, is their right at the same time. So, in my opinion, this is a perfect scenario where things are not going the way that we're supposed to be going. We're going to work it out for you. We're going to work with you, but hang in there with us, and we'll help you out. So, again, for Vooch to clarify that, I think for me and you, when we first heard the trade go down last year, we were like, oh, my God, we feel so bad for Vooch. We know he loves Orlando. That was your initial reaction. But knowing this makes you feel a little more at peace with the way that things went down. Because, again, it really felt at first like it was out of nowhere for him to find out that he was traded. Yeah,
I think it was the best of both worlds. You can see the frustrations from those players, from the Evan Fourniers, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic. Mm-hmm. You can see that. They've tried. Listen. These dudes legit gave it their all. They literally tried to do everything they possibly can. They just couldn't stay healthy. It is what it is. They tried. We literally tried with those guys, and it just didn't work. Nikola was with us for a really, really long time. So the fact that we were able to end that relationship, finally, we're able to end a relationship with a player, an all-star caliber player that plays for the Orlando Magic in a positive way. You know, that's been unheard of, right?
True.
So we found an opportunity where not only were we able to get back Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, and a future first-round pick for Nikola. Not only were we able to get a crazy deal in return for Nikola, but we also got him to go to a place where, you know, he would find some level of happiness. He would find some level of competition. Chicago, they're doing great. So it's worked out for them. But it's good to hear him publicly say, you know, it wasn't like I've been loyal to this team for so long and they moved me and they're upset. You know, it's not like the Raptors and DeMar DeRozan. It wasn't that type of situation, but it was our marquee player, our face of the franchise, our all-star, and we were able to, you know, end that in a very positive manner, which again, from the Orlando Magic, that hasn't been our past. That hasn't been our history.
That's right. Now, what were your thoughts? I know you watch it from home, but what were your thoughts on the fans' reactions during player introductions and throughout the game? Did you think that it was good enough? Do you think it could have been better? Or do you think that you don't really care about that?
I think that Nikola was such a he loved the Magic. And I think that is very, very hard to find players that really are passionate about a team. Players that come to mind is Jameer Nelson, Hito Turkoglu. I put Vooch in that category. Darryl Armstrong still has a lot of love for the Orlando Magic. Bo Outlaw, Nick Anderson, those guys. And I think that the team could never do enough to make him feel like appreciated because he's exceeded that way above and beyond. You know, the only thing that would equal in return would be to retire the man's jersey that we know that the Magic will never do. Now, I'm not saying retire Nikola jersey. I'm not saying that, so don't beat me up for it. I just mean in general. This is a player that in the future that we'll have a little plaque for him in our Magic Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited about that, so that's cool. He'll have a plaque. But again, this is someone that we'll be able to honor, and it's good, man. You were at the game. Did they give him a standing ovation?
It was a mild one. Like it wasn't nothing crazy. Like the roof didn't come out of the building when they announced him in player introductions and when they honored him. When they did play the video of him after the first time out, it was a little bit better. But you also got to understand, Vooch was not the most outspoken guy, the most Cole Anthony-like guy that you would just kind of, I don't know, feel attached to as a guy. Like Vooch is a great player, but he didn't say much. He was very quiet, very reserved. So I think that also played a role in the way that fans reacted when he came back. Like, okay, like we respect you, but that was kind of it. And also the Magic were down like 20 points by the time that timeout happened. So the arena's atmosphere was just completely dead. Like nobody cared anymore because the game was over like 8 minutes into it. But I mean, I think it is what it is. Again, definitely different than Aaron Gordon. You never heard anybody boo Vucevic. The opposite. Every time he hit a shot, you heard the Vooch in the crowd. Like the love was there for the guy. It was just not, I think, a Kobe Bryant celebration back in the days with the Lakers. Like, no, like, you're not going to get that. It was, again, normal, okay. Fans cheered, but it wasn't. I know the six-man show. He was at the game on Jonathan, and he was pretty upset with the way that they celebrated Vooch, his return. But again, you got to understand it too. Like I said, Vooch wasn't the most charismatic guy. The game was over pretty much a few minutes into it. So the crowd wasn't really into it, unfortunately. But there was a lot of love for Vooch, for sure.
Listen, his introductory press conference or interview that he had with the Chicago Bulls, the man got emotional talking about the Orlando Magic.
Yep.
Like, it's just an individual that definitely deserve more. Now, my question to you is, who had the better tribute video? Was it Aaron Gordon or was it Nikola?
Without a doubt, Nikola. Aaron Gordon was weird, man. It was a few highlights of his dunks, and I don't know, the dunk contest, it was pretty blah. You could tell the effort was put in Vucevic's video with the little quotes and where he got traded and then the press conference that he did. Yeah, 100% Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah. All right. Glad to see those guys come back to Orlando. That's always cool because even my wife, when I was watching the Nuggets game, she was like, it still looks weird for Aaron Gordon to be playing on the opposite team. Oh, yeah. Like, it looks weird, but it feels right. So let's leave it that way. All right, jumping into our pass or shoot. Very first one, is Franz Wagner the best player right out of college the Magic have ever drafted in recent years?
I'm going to shoot on that. And by recent years, I'm only going to judge the guys that our new front office has drafted. So thinking of J.I., Mo, Okeke, Cole, without a doubt, man, I don't think none of those guys had a better first month and a half into their careers with the Orlando Magic than Franz Wagner. And it's just mind-blowing to me, man, because we saw this kid playing in Summer League and in preseason, and I remember we were all like, what did we just do? The 8th pick, we had Book Night there, we had Moody there. Like, I remember like it was yesterday. He looked completely lost. And here we are a few months later, and this kid is looking like an amazing pro. Like, he looks like a legitimately veteran out there. Doesn't make mistakes, plays it safe, but he's aggressive at the same time. So in my opinion, that's an easy shoot for me. How about you?
When I'm taking a look at the list of players, most notable, you're looking at Victor Oladipo, maybe yes, maybe no. You're looking at, Aaron Gordon. You're looking at players like JJ Redick. The person that comes to mind as somebody that, straight out of college that was able to really impact and contribute right away. The most recent, I would look at Courtney Lee. Probably Courtney Lee. It's the first one that comes to mind.
Sure.
Because he was a rookie that, made an impact, made it to the starting lineup, and really did well for that team during that finals run. So I would say Courtney Lee, which you taking a look at the list, there hasn't there hasn't been a whole, like, you can make the argument, maybe Victor Oladipo, second pick in the NBA draft, had a lot of opportunity, but the team around him wasn't really good. So you really weren't able to really see his impact. So I would say Courtney Lee, but that's also because I'm biased. I'm a big Courtney Lee fan.
But the thing with Courtney, I'm looking at his stats right now. So Courtney Lee averaged 8.4 points a game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. That rookie season, right?
Those were big 8 points a game.
Oh, it was.
All right. He had to share those points with everybody. He had to somehow find a way to eat with Dwight Howard, with Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis. He had to find those are big 8 points, right?
I'm gonna go there though. That missed layup in the finals, Franz.
Don't be that guy.
Don't
be that guy. we're having a good evening. Don't be that guy. All right. So Cole Anthony, is he the? I mean, it's probably an easy one. Cole Anthony, is he the leader of the team?
So when I thought of that question, let me go backstory to that. When I thought of that question, I thought of that as, or that statement, I thought of it as, even when Markelle, J.I. coming back, like the full roster, you still see Cole Anthony as the leader of this team. So I'm going to have you go first and answer that. So do you think full healthy roster, Orlando Magic are now February, hopefully fully healthy, playing against the Knicks, whoever it is Cole Anthony the guy that you say he's our leader on the court?
Dude, you already gave him the keys to the front seat. He's driving the vehicle. Good luck trying to take that away from him. I think that Cole Anthony has a personality that he is way too vocal and doesn't know how to be any other way. This is him. You can blame it on the fact that he's already been exposed to the NBA at such an early age with his dad. You can blame it on the fact that he's from New York and has that New York mentality, that New York grit. You can blame it on the fact that he's the only high school player in Oak Hill Academy to average a triple-double. Like, he's done so much in every level. He finds a way to kind of outdo himself in a sense that he's already talking like a leader now. So during his post-game interview with Dante, he even said that during the half, nobody was pointing fingers at each other. Nobody was saying, "Oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that." Everyone came together. And the thing about working in groups is that all it takes is that one player to that one individual to have a negative mindset, negative energy that trickles down, man. That catches on like wildfire. And somebody has to be the vocal leader to kind of think about the positivity and to really keep everyone together. And I think that Cole Anthony has the personality to be outspoken, but then also has the ability to be able to kind of show it on the court and lead in that way. So when you have an individual that can lead vocally and also lead on the court, there's no way you're taking that back. I don't know how Jonathan Isaac is in the locker room. I don't know how Markelle Fultz is in the locker room. I know what we've seen from Cole Anthony, and I think that, again, he has a personality that, one, people will listen, and two, he's willing to be that guy. He's willing to take the last shot. He's willing to sacrifice certain things. Like, this dude was taking charges. Like, this is a guy, your point guard. Like, your point guard got 8 rebounds against a big-ass Denver Nuggets. Your starting center, also had 8 rebounds. So you got your point guard damn near out-rebounding your center. The dude is 6'2". He's doing all the little things. And again, you gotta be a guy that is vocally and be able to back that up. So I would agree. I would definitely say hell yeah.
I think that one thing that you mentioned is this guy has earned that role inside the lineup, right? We were all kind of like, oh, is he a 6th man? Is he going to be, a starter? We didn't know. There's no way in heck that you can take this guy out of the lineup right now. You just can't. He's earned it. But in my opinion, I'm going to shoot. I mean, you can't teach leadership. You can't teach like that alpha mentality that he has. And like you mentioned, it's even, like I said, on the bench, this guy's sitting, resting, or when he's been injured, the first one to get up and greet his teammates. The number one guy out there yelling at the refs when they make a bad call, and he's defending his teammates. All those little things add up. And then, of course, he's an amazing vocal leader as well. So in my opinion, yes, I think Cole Anthony has earned that right. He hasn't been given to him because he was the highest draft pick or what. No, he's earned that role of the leader of this team. And again, in every single facet of the game, whether it's on the court, off the court, in the locker room, he's shown to be a leader. So rightfully so, I think he'll be the leader of the Magic for the near future.
My man was in New York for draft day. And when the Orlando Magic selected a point guard with the 5th pick, the dude was up, clapping up a storm, welcome his teammate, his brand new teammate. Like this dude is everything that you would want. You know, Greg Anthony, his dad, went on Twitter today and kind of had a little bit of a rant, and just kind of, you know, boosting his son up. And he was talking straight facts. You know, when the Orlando Magic drafted Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony didn't cry about it. He wasn't upset. None of that. The dude just put in the work. And that's literally all you can ask for from a player that you just drafted last season. Like, the dude didn't even have a full regular rookie season. He just got his full 84 games this season. Like, a couple weeks ago, man. And the dude has already found a way to really improve his game. There's no way that this man is not in the top 5 list of most improved. There's no way that this man is not in the top 3 list. This is the same guy that got snubbed from all NBA rookie team, first and second team. How, Sway? How? Damn near impossible. But it happened. And thank you. I'll take it. As much as I wish that he got that level of recognition. That's probably created the monster that we have in front of us now.
That's right.
And it feels like money, man.
Feels like money. That's for
Feels
sure.
like money. All right, jumping into the next one. Chuma Okeke. Will this man figure things out and become a key rotational player soon? Right now, he's currently shooting 37% from field goal. He's at 22.6 from the three-point line. He's averaging 6.9 points per game. Not the same Chuma that we've had from last season. Obviously, injury has a lot to do with that, but can we expect more?
Also worth noting, he's played 17 games now, so he's gotten that conditioning kind of there. Yes, I'm going to shoot because I honestly think that he's going to figure it out. But realistically, I'm a little concerned, though, just because there's a lot of areas of his game that are worrisome. Like, one thing about Chuma last season was his defense was great. This year, I'm witnessing guys drive right by him time and time again. It's like, okay, what's going on there? His shooting, the shots that he's missing are not contested fadeaway shots, step back shots. No. They're wide open 3-pointers. And they're not even close, man. Like, they're not like in and out shots. No. He's missing them by a mile. And again, he's not really having that explosiveness going to the hoop for dunks like we saw him last year, dunking over Andre Drummond, all over him. Like, I'm not seeing that explosion right now. So it's a lot of little things that I'm noticing that I'm like, wait, what's going on with him? But let's blame it on he's not being utilized correctly. Let's blame it on he's playing with a bench, which has a bunch of guys that are being left wide open. So maybe he's being guarded differently. I don't know. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he can figure it out. But there are some weird things going on with his game that I'm not a fan of. But I'm going to shoot for now.
I think that this is another player that struggles with injury. Luckily, we're able to see him back already, but I think we'll get it together. There's a lot of different dynamics that are happening. I'm sure that he's adjusting to Mo Bamba, Wendell dynamic. He's adjusting to Franz Wagner. He's adjusting to everything. The new coaching staff, what's expected of him, how much time he's going to play on a daily game-to-game basis. I think that he'll be all right. I think that when it comes to our players, we have so many players on our roster that we have high expectations for. We're expecting for them to be this person, right? In All-Star a high ceiling, and it's causing frustrations from the fan base with players like Chuma, with players like RJ Hampton, that they're not playing at the level that we're expecting. Last season, these are players that were kind of breaking out in their own right. Chuma did that. RJ Hampton did that. They also did that under, Coach Cliff. Coach Mose is a completely different individual from whatever Cliff was.
Yep.
So I think that it's an adjustment. Once these players start finding their footing, I think he'll be all right. I think Chuma will be all right. Now, the Orlando Magic are now going out west. We're going on a road trip. We got Friday against Houston, Monday at Golden State, and then Wednesday at Sacramento. What are your predictions?
I think we win. Hey, I'm gonna go and say probably 2 of those games. I think Houston, we can definitely win that game. I believe Christian Wood just got announced that he won't be playing for, I think, a few games. He'll definitely miss, I think, the Magic game. So I think we probably steal that game if we play well. Our shots are going in. We'll probably win that one. It's a tank matchup for sure. I think both teams have 5 wins right now. So let's see how that goes. Golden State, they're rolling right now. I don't see us winning that one. And Sacramento, man. They can be on fire or they can be really, really awful. So I can see us possibly winning against Houston and against Sacramento. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Houston. I just want to see the rookies battle it out. Like, I want to see Franz just put in work against the Rockets. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm rooting for. And I really don't like I don't like the way that the team is constructed in Houston. I think that we have a good shot against them. I think that we have more of a team function on our side. So I'll give us the upper hand. And then maybe against Sacramento also. Maybe. Yeah, they look like they're getting ready to implode also. All right, final thoughts. Let's wrap this up.
Final thoughts. I just realized, and this is my fault completely. We completely missed up the part about Jalen Suggs, man, and talking about his injury. But I simply want to say we finally caught a break with an injury. I'm sure by now all Magic fans know Jalen Suggs got hurt. He ruptured his right thumb, so his shooting hand thumb. Thankfully, though, will not require surgery. He thankfully will be evaluated every 2 weeks. So finally some good news for us when it comes to an injury. It's not season ending. It's not the end of the world. We were expecting for it to be worse. So I'm just hoping that Jalen Suggs recovers quickly. And I wouldn't mind if they hold him out until J.I. comes back and you kind of get 2 for 1. You get J.I. and Jalen Suggs coming back together. That'd be nice to see, and hopefully joining Markelle at that point in the roster. So I'm just thankful that we got some good news here because, again, it has been, I feel like anytime somebody goes down, I'm expecting the worst with a Magic injury. So we finally got a break.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully it's we don't wait that long because I wouldn't even be surprised if these dudes come back in February. So hopefully Jalen Suggs doesn't get that much of a rest because we want him to come back and do well. And maybe this will do a lot of good for him because Cole Anthony, when he struggled through his injury last season, was at a time where, we needed him to be our starting point guard. Markelle went down, and then he got hit with his injury, took some time off, came back, and then started playing so much better basketball. So hopefully we kind of see that same aspect from Jalen Suggs. And then just to end on this, right now, and this actually just popped up, but the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Oklahoma City Thunder by 73 points. Brand new NBA record.
How?
I don't know. So when you're watching these games, and I don't foresee us going on another 7-game losing streak, but when these losses pile up, just remember things could be worse. We could be OKC. That's rough.
Wow,
dude,
that
73.
is shocking.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're already tanking. Like 73.
And wait, doesn't Memphis John Morant, isn't he out with any injury, so he's not even playing?
If that's the case, that is terrible.
That's
inexcusable. That is insane. My goodness.
So my takeaway is let's not ever get to that level, please.
Yeah, I feel bad for anyone that put a wager on OKC.
Can you imagine?
That's terrible. That's terrible. On that note, that's a wrap, man. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the OZone Podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the OZone Pod. And remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on all your favorite podcast listening platforms.